Good evening, councillors. Welcome to the planning meeting on this day, the 24th of November. We've still got some councillors joining us, I believe, but we'll press on. Welcome officers and any members of the public listening at home. Okay, so we've got quite a packed agenda again this evening, so let's move swiftly on. We've got number one, apologies for absence, please.
Apologies, Councillor Plant, I'm substituting as per normal.
Thank you, Councillor Hamilton. Any others? Okay, thank you. Number two, declarations of interest. Do we have any? Yes, Councillor Gavishak?
I've got two this evening. Sorry, I haven't got the page numbers worked out. Right, on page 5, there's an application from my neighbour Byron House.
Mm-hmm.
And the last time this was discussed, I declared an interest, and I declare that interest again. And this time I will not be speaking in public participation, and I will leave the meeting when it's debated, and I will take no part in the discussion nor the vote, and I would like that minuted. That's the first one. Later in the agenda, page, apologies, should have found out. Right, the top of page 9 is an application called Pantiles Elizabeth Road.
Yeah.
That I will declare a pecuniary interest. I will take no part in anything at all, and I would like that minuted. This is the house that is owned by my partner, and it is the house that I live in, and it's also the house that I have declared on my interests. So those two items. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Thank you, they're noted. Okay, number 3, minutes of the last meeting. This refers to the last planning meeting on the 3rd of November. Do I have a proposal? Yes, for acceptance. Councillor Gavishak, thank you.
Sorry. Chair.
Yeah.
I'd like an amendment, please.
Okay.
Apologies,
right.
I only just spotted it. And then I will propose acceptance if the amendment's accepted. In page 13, declarations of interest 145, you will see it says there, Councillor Gavishak declared a pecuniary interest in application Byron House. It is right. At the beginning, I did declare a pecuniary interest, and then on advice from the officers, I changed it to an interest. So I would like the word pecuniary removed. Everything else is correct. So Councillor Gavishak declared an interest in the application, exactly the same as I've done tonight. Thank you.
Yeah, that's exactly as I recall it as well, actually, Councillor Gavishak. So thank you. So do we have a seconder?
Yeah,
yeah, Councillor Arlett, thank you. All those in favour? That's carried, thank you. Okay, next we have public participation. And I understand this evening we have 2 members of the public who would like to speak. The first is Debbie Mason. If you'd like to switch your, well, you don't have to switch your camera on if you don't wish to, but if you'd just like to let us know which applications you're speaking to.
Yeah, hi there. Thanks for that. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Oh, great. Yeah, I'd like to talk on 2 applications. My application, which is P20 S3543HH, Byron House, and I'd also like to talk on P20 S411HH, the Pantiles.
Okay, thank you. You have 2 to 3 minutes for each application. So whenever you're ready.
Oh, great, thanks. So my name's Debbie Mason. I'm the owner of Byron House. Firstly, I just want to say thanks for the opportunity to talk to you all today. We are obviously looking to have our application approved and details on that. So our planning application is for a single-storey wraparound kitchen extension. We've got a young family, and we're looking to have some extra space in our kitchen for a dining room table and family dining. We've been working from home since March, like lots of us, due to COVID, and our house is also the office, and just really need the extra space. There was a window in the flank wall of our house that was raised by our neighbour, Stefan Gavachak, who's also on the call today. We spoke to our planning officer, Danny Rogers, and we understand that she has put forward a recommendation to move ahead with a condition to have the window as obscured glass glazed window, and that window would actually be in the utility room. There are no windows on the flank wall of the kitchen, which would be the main sort of room used moving forward. I'd also like to call out that there's a 6-foot hedge between our house and the Pantars house, and therefore there would be no window to window overlooking, especially with the extra provision of the glazed obscured glass. In the last committee meeting on the 3rd of November, Councillor Gavachak also raised that there was a condition placed on the original build of our house, which is actually 14 years ago now, and that condition was that there were no windows to be placed on the flank wall. I'd just like to highlight that the inspectorate did not remove permitted planning development rights to the building, and this condition was for the original build only, not on future updates. So yeah, that comes to the end of my spiel on Byron House. Any questions?
Thank you. Yes. Do councillors have any questions? No, I see none. Okay, so if you'd like to move on to the next application you're speaking to, thank you, whenever you're ready.
Thank you. So the next application is P20 S411HH, and I'm looking for the planning application on the Pantars property to be refused. One of my neighbours is also going to talk on this property, so I'll just cover some points and then here cover the others. So I feel that the extension is oversized, excessive in terms of the size of the plot. I think you guys use the term overdevelopment. We feel that it's unneighbourly and it will have a negative impact on the surrounding neighbours due to overlooking light spill and density. The application takes the property from a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom house to 5 bedrooms, 4 bathrooms, which are detailed in the floor plans, but there's also a roof conversion that could potentially take the property up to 7 bedrooms, 6 bathrooms. So we feel that going from 3 bedrooms to 7 bedrooms is pretty extensive. The layout indicates that the house will be used as a multi-tenant house, and with multi-tenanted houses come multiple cars, and that point will be further discussed by our neighbour James. The proposed extension is double-storey. It builds right onto the border of the Limes, which is the neighbouring house, and right up to the boundary hedge on our side, with a new proposed detached garage. This extends significantly beyond the front line of the Pantars house, and it would cause severe loss of light to our already very dark dining room, having that garage there. Our dining room has only got one front-facing window, as we don't have any windows on the flank wall of our house. I think I mentioned that before. We're also concerned that the building is too close to the hedge, and potentially that would kill the hedge off. And I understand that's been there for 25 years, so quite a long time. Elizabeth Road is a mix of bungalows and 2-storey houses. And this extension is a 3-floor extension with dormer windows in the roof, with that roof conversion. So it would be the only house on Elizabeth Road and actually St Nicholas Road that would be 3 stories, and we feel that that's extremely oversized. There's a new window proposed on the flank wall of the house bordering the Pantars and the Limes. just calling that out. And our neighbours, Catherine and Stefan Gavachak, who's on the call, even though we've been in discussions with them around our planning application, which we feel is very minor in comparison to theirs, we've had 3 discussions with them face to face on our doorstep, but not once did their extensive planning application come up. Are there any questions?
Yes, any questions from councillors, please? I see none. Sorry. Yes, Councillor Hamilton.
Can I just ask you to confirm, did the applicant of Pantar's get in touch with you before making the application?
No, they didn't. Thank you for that question. I'd
Thank you.
also like to add,
Mrs. Mason, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
you did have to go slightly over your 3 minutes, so
okay,
it's
no worries.
okay with you. We'll be moving on. Now, we do have another speaker, I understand, but I can't, are they in the waiting room, Town Clerk?
No, we don't have any of the members of the public who've joined, although I do believe somebody did register their interest.
Okay. All right. Okay. So that concludes that part of the agenda. Mrs. Mason, you're very welcome to stay on the call, but if you do, I'd be grateful if you could turn your camera off. Alternatively, you can go to YouTube and watch. It's up to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Right. So, councillors, let's move on to part 5 of the agenda, which is amended plans. And as always, I will ask Jodie for her observations before we take any proposals. So the first one is P20 S2103. It's a full application and it's land to the rear of Crossways, Reading Road. Jodie.
So the amended plans were discussed at the last committee on the 3rd of November. So I think our previous comments will still stand for this one.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Do I have any proposals? Yes, Councillor Romans.
I'm going to propose rejection again on this one. I mean, having just read through the reports and taking on board Jodie's advice on this, I mean, I don't feel comfortable with this whatsoever. I do have concerns about the quality of the land they want to build this on, various environmental impacts beyond that. So it's a no-go from me.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Romans. Is that seconded? Councillor Gavachak, thank you. Would any other councillor like to speak?
Yes, I'll just say I agree completely with Councillor Romans on this, and I suggest we repeat the very good comments that Jodie put forward, which are attached to the agenda. So thank you.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Clark, did you wish to speak? No? Okay, all right. Let's put this to vote then. The motion is for rejection, refusal. All those in favour? Thank you, that's carried.
Can you put me down as abstain, Chairman, please?
Yeah, of course.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to the next one is P20 S2395. It's a householder application and it's 48 Berkshire Road. Jodie.
So the amended plans do not show a reduction of the scale and massing of the proposed 2-storey extension and would not address your previous concerns of overdevelopment. The amended plans show that the side window towards number 46 Berkshire Road is high level and shut, so would help to reduce the overlooking onto that property. But it looks as if your previous comments would still stand on this.
Okay, thank you, Jodie. Do we have any proposals? Yes, Councillor Gavachak.
I propose refusal on exactly the same grounds as we have said before.
Thank you. Do you have a seconder? Yes, Donna. Yes, Councillor Crook. Sorry, I nearly called you by your Christian name then. Thank you. Would any other councillor like to speak before we put this to the vote? No? Okay. Right. All those in favour of refusal, put your hands up now. Thank you. That's carried. And Councillor Arlett is abstaining. Okay. Next one is P20 S2680 and it's a householder application for 44 Northfield End. Jodie.
The committee recommended approval in September, so I would have thought this would still stand. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Yes, Councillor Gavishak, you have a proposal?
I recommend approval, the same as before.
I'll second.
Thank you. Would any other councillor like to speak? No? Okay, let's put this to the vote then. And this one is for approval. All those in favour? Thank you, that's carried. The next one is for listed building consents, P20 S2930, and it's 56 New Street. Jodie.
Structural reports have been submitted as part of the amended plans, but we're still waiting on the conservation officer's approval. So again, I'd suggest reiterating our previous comments.
Okay, thank you, Jodie. Yes, Councillor Gavishak.
I would like to propose the same as last time, recommend approval subject to the acceptance of the conservation officer and consideration of the existing well. So same as. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have a seconder? Thank you, Councillor Crook. Would any other councillor like to speak? No? Okay, let's put this to the vote then. And it's for approval subject to conditions. All those in favour? Thank you, that's carried. Councillor Hamilton.
Chair,
yes.
I am now leaving the meeting. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Could it be minuted, please?
Okay, so the next one is P20 S3543 householder application, Byron House, 65 Elizabeth Road. Jodie.
Thank you. So the proposed amendment to this application is for bifold doors along the rear elevation. So I would consider that your previous comments would still stand. I did want to notify you of comments from the planning case officer, who has stated that a rear extension of up to 4 metres deep and a side extension up to the boundary could be built without planning permission under the parameters of general permitted development rights. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention.
Okay. Can I just clarify, Jodie? Did the planning officer say no windows? Did they mention that at all?
With regards to permitted development rights, they could get it with various conditions. So it couldn't go higher than 3 metres to the eaves, but they could insert a window into that extension without needing permission.
Okay, thank you for the clarification. Councillors, do I have any motions? Yes, Councillor Hamilton.
Yeah, I'd like to propose acceptance and I'd like to speak to that motion.
Okay, go ahead.
I'd like to speak to this application from the minutes of obviously from the decision we made.
Chairman,
Yes.
point of order. Does he have a seconder?
Yeah, I can see if we have a seconder. Yep, Councillor Eggleton, thank you. Seconded.
Yeah, I've got a seconder. I'd like to speak to this application from the minutes of the 3rd of November. I have to tell you that if I was the homeowner, I would feel pretty aggrieved at this decision, which has now been amended. Councillors may speak at public participation, as Councillor Gavishak did, and then leave the room. He has since changed his interest tonight. Councillor Gavishak, however, did so.
Chairman, these are personal. Chairman, these are personal comments. They have nothing to do with the application.
Yeah, Councillor Hamilton, I was about to stop you on that one. Can we please make sure that we are speaking about the planning application?
We are.
We're not.
Okay.
You're talking about something that happened a few weeks ago.
Okay.
Which we have already agreed in the minutes. Councillor Hamilton, I reiterate, can you please speak to the application?
I can do.
Thank you.
The decision from the 3rd of the month states adverse impact on the neighbouring properties. I don't see how this can still be true given the application we have tonight from Pantiles. It states policy D4 of 2011.
Hang on, sorry, can I just stop you there? You're now speaking about Pantiles.
No, I'm speaking about the policy
yet.
that's listed within D4 of 2011 local plan that states that development should not be permitted if it would be unacceptably harm the amenities of the neighbouring properties through loss of privacy, daylight or sunlight. In my view, given those gardens are all south facing, Byron and all the surrounding properties have ample light. It then goes on to talk about the appeal decision, and the lady raised it again tonight. This house has been here for 14 years, and in my view, that is obsolete. I see that they've made the amendment with an opaque window, and I think that is a good thing. And given this is a single story rear extension, I really do think we should accept it. I so propose.
Okay, thank you. Are you still happy to second, Councillor Eggleton? Yeah, okay. Any other councillor like to speak to this application? No? Okay, let's put this to the vote then. We have a motion for approval. It's been seconded. All those in favour? So that's 1, 2, 3. All those against? 1, 2. Okay, it's carried. Thank you.
Yeah.
Right, moving on then. We have P20 S3660, and it's.
I want to get Councillor Gavershak back, Chairman.
Yes, can someone please? I'm not going to. Can somebody
Okay.
please just let him know?
Are you calling him, Ken?
Okay, so P20 S3660 full 253 Grays Road. Jodie.
So I'd say the previous comments would still stand. The amended plans show the gable has been moved on plot 3, but the overriding principle of your previous objections would still apply.
Okay, thank you. Okay, do I have any proposals from councillors? Yes, Councillor Crook.
Recommend refusal.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder? Do I have a seconder for refusal, councillors? Yes, Councillor Romans, thank you. So that's been seconded. Would any other councillor like to speak? No? Okay, let's put this to the vote then. So on the same grounds as before, it's been proposed and seconded that we refuse. All those in favour?
Oh, I'm not voting.
Okay, thank you. And Councillor Arler is abstaining.
Abstaining.
Thank you. Let's move on over the page. That concludes amended plans. We move on to plans new. Do we have Councillor Gavershak back yet? Well, we'll call it, so we'll continue.
Yeah.
Right, so moving on to item 6, we've got plans new, and the first one is P20 S3682 householder application, and that's for 64 St Andrews Road. Jodie.
I didn't have any comments for this one.
Okay, thank you. Councillors, can I have a proposal, please? Yes, Councillor Clark.
Recommend approval.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder? Thank you, Councillor Hamilton. Would any other councillor like to speak? No? Okay, so let's put this to the vote then. The motion is for approval. Sorry, Councillor Eggleton, did you want to speak?
No, just
no, okay. Okay, all those in favour of approval, please. Okay, thank you, that's carried. And the next one is P20 S3723 listed building, and that's 70 Grays Hill. Jodie.
The proposal is to replace 3 sash windows, but with double glazing, and to replace the front door on a like-for-like basis. Subject to the satisfaction of the conservation officer, I don't have any concerns.
Okay, thank you. Yes, Councillor Crook.
Recommend approval.
Subject to conditions?
Yeah.
I'll second, subject to the conditions.
Yeah, thank you, Councillor Eggleton. So that's been seconded. Would any other councillor like to speak? No? Okay, thank you. Let's put this to the vote then. It's for approval, subject to condition of the Conservation Officer being approval, and all those in favour. Okay, thank you. That's carried. And the next one again, listed building. P20 S3821, and it's 22 Gravel Hill. Jodie.
My comments apply for this one, similar to the last one, in terms of subject to the satisfaction of the Conservation Officer. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Crook.
Recommend approval, subject to.
Second.
Okay, thank you. Would any other councillor like to speak before we put this one to the vote? Okay, I see none. So let's move this to the vote then, and it's for refusal, subject to the Conservation Officer approval. All those in favour? Thank you. That's
Did
carried.
you just say recommend refusal there?
Did I? Apologies. Recommend approval.
Yeah.
Approval.
Approve. Yeah.
Approval.
Yeah.
You know what we were voting for?
We were following Donna rather than following your mouth. There we go.
Yeah. All right. Thank you. Thanks for pulling me up on that one. Okay. So the next one is P20 S3894, and it's listed building, and it's 6 West Street. Jodie.
So the steps up to the property currently consist of pebble concrete. This is beginning to break up. The proposed works would be to remove the top layer of this and insert old flagstone. So again, approval subject to the satisfaction of the Conservation Officer. I don't have
Thank
any
you.
concerns.
Thank you. Councillor Eggleton.
Approval on based on the grounds of it being looked at and it's in keeping with the area.
Okay, thank you. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Hamilton.
Sorry, yeah, I've just got a note here. I remember from the past the trouble with the stones in that area, because they are actually listed and the tiles are actually listed. So if you lift them up, they're actually, we had 5 years or so back, we had an amazing amount of problems up there because someone had put some bollards in. We took the bollards out, we couldn't replace the stones because you can't get hold of them. So I would just note caution to the wind.
Councillor Eggleton, are you happy for that caution to be put into the proposal? Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
that's what I meant, within keeping with the area.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. Right, any other councillor like to speak to this application? Nope. Okay, let's put this to the vote then. It's for approval, subject to the conditions. All those in favour? Okay, that's carried. Thank you. Okay, let's move on then to the next page, which is page 7, P20 S3907, and it's a householder application. By the way, I've noticed that Councillor Gavishak hasn't come back in, but did he get in contact at all?
I did message him saying he could come back in.
He's not actually here in the meeting. Okay, so we've got a householder application for 122 St Andrews Road. Jodie.
So the proposals for a front, side and rear extension to this detached property. Although there's a range of styles and sizes of properties in this area, I do have some concerns over the massing of the proposed 2-storey front extension. However, I do note that a similar extension has been approved on the neighbouring property, 120 St Andrews Road. Also got some concerns over the first floor windows on the western elevation, which could cause some overlooking. Policy D4 of the local plan states that development will not be permitted if it would unacceptably harm the amenities of neighbouring properties. Those were my observations.
Okay, thank you, Jodie. Right, do I have any councillors with a proposal, please? Oh, welcome back, Councillor Gavishak. I'll let you know which one we're on. We're on P20 S3907, householder 122 St Andrews Road. Did you hear Jodie's comments about this application?
On mute, Stefan.
On mute, Stefan.
You're on mute.
Sorry, I didn't hear the comments, so I won't vote on it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for the clarification. Okay, councillors, any proposals, please?
I propose no objection, Chairman.
Okay, thank you. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Hamilton, thank you. Would any other councillor like to speak? Okay, let's put this to the vote then. The motion is for approval. All those in favour? That's carried, thank you. Now, the next two I'm actually going to take together, if that's acceptable. One is for a listed building and one is for a full application. And it's P20 S3918 and S3919. And it's for Henley Bridge. Jodie.
Thank you. So consider that there's insufficient information to accurately assess the impacts of the Grade 1 listed structure. The works could lead to some harm to the stonework of the bridge. So anything should be subject to the satisfaction of the Conservation Area and Historic England.
Okay, thank you. Yes, Councillor Gavashak.
I propose we leave it to OCC and SODC in Wokingham. Therefore, I propose recusal on the grounds of, as Jodie said, insufficient information. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Do I have a seconder?
I'll second it.
Councillor Everton, thank you. Would any other councillor like to speak? Yes, Councillor Hamilton.
Yeah, 8 weeks ago, the bridge was actually dug up for another Zoom company or another broadband company. And I just think we should try and get them to, if possible, do it once rather than do it 3 times, because it must be causing damage to the pavements. I don't know what they were digging up, but they've definitely dug up the pavement and put them back down again.
Is this to do with a planning application?
Councillor Hamilton, I don't know what you're referring to actually, because
It was dug up and put back about 6 weeks ago. It may have been exploratory, but I'll just make the point. Let's try and get them all to go together.
Okay. All right. Well, listen, we've got a proposal for refusal, and it's been seconded. Let's put this to the vote. All those in favour? All those? Yeah. Okay. Thank you. That's carried. Okay. That's P. The next one is 43 Park Road. It's a householder application. It's P20 S3933. Jodie.
So the application site is within the conservation area. I note that they are proposing conservation type roof lights and replacing the single story extension with a slightly larger one and replacing the roof with slate. I don't have any overriding concerns with this.
Okay, thank you. Yes, Councillor Gavashak.
I'd like to propose acceptance. I think it's acceptable. Thank you.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Romans, thank you. Would any other councillor like to speak? No. Okay, let's put this to the vote then. The motion is for approval. All those in favour? Thank you, that's carried. And the next one is P20 S3950. It's a householder application and it's for 24 Cold Harbour Close. Jodie.
No overriding issues with this. It's a large property on a large plot. The proposed extension shouldn't adversely impact on the character of the property or the neighbours' amenity.
Thank you. Councillor Gavashak.
I propose acceptance. It's, as Jodie has said, it's a large plot and the development is acceptable. Thank you.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder? Yes, Councillor Clark, thank you. Would any other councillor like to speak? No. Okay, so let's put this to the vote then. The motion is for approval. All those in favour? Thank you, that's carried. Okay, the next one is over the page on page 8, P20 S3955, and it's 28 Wilson Avenue. Jodie.
I didn't have any concerns with this one.
Thank you. Councillors, any proposals? Yes, Councillor Gavashak.
I propose acceptance. It's acceptable. Thank you.
Thank you. Is that seconded?
Yeah.
Councillor Clark, thank you. Would any other councillor like to speak? Okay, so the motion is for approval. All those in favour? Thank you, that's carried. And the next one is P20 S3961. It's a full application and it's Beechwood Lodge, Lambridge Lane. Jodie.
Again, I don't have any concerns with this one. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Councillors, yes, Councillor Gavashak.
I propose acceptance again. Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Would any other councillor like to speak? Yes, Councillor Crook.
It's just a note from the Henley Society about the proposed garage. just about the overlooking, just neighbours about the roof lights overlooking into the neighbouring property, but I'm sure it wouldn't be too, because they're far apart enough, the houses are anyway, so.
Okay, thank you. Right, so councillors, we have a proposal for approval and it's been seconded. All those in favour? Thank you, that's carried. And the next one is P20 S3969. It's a householder application and it's 25 Hamilton Avenue. Jodie.
My only comment was it was good to see the replacement windows and doors in timber, so I didn't have any concerns. Thank you.
Councillors, any proposals, please? Yes, Councillor Gavashak.
We love timber windows, so the answer is proposal for acceptance.
Thank you. And that are you seconding, Councillor Eggleton?
Yes.
Thank you. Would any other councillor like to speak? No, let's put this to the vote then. All those in favour of approval? Thank you, that's carried. And the next one is a listed building application, P20 S3972, and it's flat 1, 45 New Streets. Jodie.
So this is a grade 2 listed building within the conservation area, and the proposal is for internal alterations. So as long as it has no negative impact upon the interest of that listed building, then it would be acceptable. I note the conservation officer has no objections. Thanks.
Thank you. Councillor Gavashak.
As the conservation officer has no objections, I propose acceptance. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Clark, thank you. Would any other councillor like to speak? No. Okay, let's put this to the vote then. All those in favour of approval, please raise your hands. Okay, thank you. That's carried.
Chair,
Right.
I'm leaving the meeting again.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Gavashak. Now, councillors, in light of our known relationship with Councillor Gavashak, I'm going to make a proposal. Councillor Hamilton, I note your hand up. You will have I will make sure you have a chance to speak. I'm actually going to make a proposal from the chair. Okay, it's due to the association of members with the applicant, it can be assumed that a member of the public in knowledge of the full facts would reasonably believe that members would be unable to come to an objective decision. It should also be considered that regardless of any observations made by the members of this committee, the application will be decided by the planning committee of the local planning authority. Therefore, I propose that this committee resolved to make no representation on this application. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Eggleton. Sorry, Councillor Hamilton, are you seconding?
No, I just wanted to speak.
Okay, well, it's been seconded. Would any other councillors like to speak?
Yeah.
Yes, Councillor Hamilton and then Councillor Crook.
Oh, no, I don't want to speak.
Oh, you don't want to speak. Okay, Councillor Hamilton?
I do want to speak for this application,
Yeah.
and I do want to ask the town clerk for his advice. The deputy clerk did send me that paragraph last night from yourself, and I read it, and I immediately responded to the town clerk to say, I don't think that's right. And the reason why it's not right is there is a precedence here. Applications from councillors are always discussed, they are noted, and they are sent off to Oxfordshire County Council. And I can list Councillor Reisman, even myself, I had a single story extension. I can list Councillor Nimmo Smith. I can list various councillors all the way back. It's right that we should discuss this application. We should make notes in exactly the same way. And for fairness to all the people in Henley, those notes should be sent off to the district council for them to make a decision based on our consultee. I think it is unfair if we do not comment on this application. Right? It is something that we've done many a time before, and for that reason, we should comment on this application.
Thank you, Councillor Hamilton.
I honestly think it would be a mistake to change that policy.
Okay.
You know, and I asked the town clerk to intervene.
Okay, Councillor Hamilton, thank you for that. Town Clerk, would you like to make any observations on this proposal, which has been seconded?
So this is it is ultimately a matter of conscience for councillors. There is nothing in law to prevent councillors discussing and making resolution on this on this matter. Again, the point is whether or not a member of the public in knowledge of the full facts would reasonably assume that that you could come to an objective decision on it. So with that, obviously, if members had objections that they wanted to raise and feed those back to the local planning authority, I don't think a reasonable person would believe that personal friendships or obviously having him as a colleague would stop you being if you wanted to say something to object to it, then I wouldn't see an issue with that at all. If there are things that the councillors wanted to say, it is simply a case of if councillors are minded to support the application, then would a reasonable person think that that had been arrived at objectively? That is a matter of conscience for individual members of the committee.
Madam Chairman, you're on mute.
No, it's sorry, it's not. I'm not actually on mute. My internet is playing up at the moment. Just get part. I'm going to have to hand over.
I think it's just the buffer that goes through at this time of night because everyone's on the PlayStation.
Shall I take over, Town Clerk?
That would probably be.
All I had was PlayStation.
You're back, Michelle.
Yes, that would probably be preferable until Michelle is back properly. Yes.
Hold on.
You're frozen, Michelle.
Shall I take over, Town Clerk?
That would be preferable. Yes.
Okay. We've had a proposal from the chairman, and that was seconded by Councillor Eggleton. Councillor Hamilton has spoken against it, and unless anybody else wishes to speak, I'm going to go for the vote.
A recorded vote, please, Mr. Mayor. I feel very strongly about this. Can I have a recorded vote, please, Mr. Mayor?
Councillor Hamilton, can you just control yourself? People put their hands up and I'll ask them to speak, okay? You'll just control yourself a minute. Town Clerk.
Sorry, a point of information. I don't believe that Councillor Hamilton has spoken against the application. I think it was more of a point of order he wished to raise.
No, he didn't. Town Clerk, he didn't speak against the application. He spoke against the proposal that was put forward by the chairman. That's what he spoke against. That was the proposal put forward. We haven't discussed the application. So he spoke against the proposal put forward, which was seconded. So he's spoken to that. So we're going to take a vote on that first. So, sorry, Councillor, why have you got your hand up again for? You've already spoken, and we've listened to
I'm asking you, Mr. Mayor, for a recorded vote, and I would like to speak to the application.
Well, okay, we're going to speak to the motion first, and if the motion goes through, we won't be discussing the application this evening. Didn't you understand what the chairman said?
But Mr. Mayor, I'm asking
No, didn't you understand what the chairman said in her motion? That's the question I'm asking you.
I understood that.
Right, okay, that's fine. Then let's just control yourself a minute. Just control yourself. Right, we're going to go for a recorded vote. All in favour of the proposal which was seconded. And I'll take those in order. On my screen, I'll go to Councillor Clark first. Either for or against the motion, Councillor Clark?
Against.
Okay, right. Councillor Eggleton? For. Councillor Romans?
For the motion.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Crook?
For the motion.
Councillor Hamilton?
Against.
Okay. That's 3 for and 2 against. I'm going to abstain on this, and the motion is carried. Okay,
Mr.
thank you.
Mayor,
Yes, Councillor Hamilton.
can I call a procedural point of order?
You can ask the town clerk if you've got a procedural point of order. Of course you can.
I'd like to ask the town clerk, given the change in policy, I do not feel that this
Sorry,
is
the
the
changes.
right way.
Well, let me stop you there, Councillor Hamilton. What policy are you referring to?
The change in the
No, Councillor Hamilton. Councillor Hamilton, what policy are you referring to? What written policy are you referring to?
The fact we can't speak to a planning application.
No, that's not a policy, Councillor. That might be your view, but it's not a policy.
So understanding orders, any councillor of equal strength is able to speak to any motion. I would like to speak to this motion. I'll ask the town clerk to be able to speak to it.
Which standing order are you referring to?
I think it's 10C.
Is that correct, town clerk?
I would need to double check my standing orders. Bear with me 1 second. No, 10C is if a resolution made in accordance with standing order 10B above is disobeyed, the chairman may take such further steps as may reasonably be necessary to enforce it.
Okay, then we're going to move on to the next application. The next application is P20/S4164
Mr. Mayor,
27 Nicholas Road, Henley on Thames.
Councillor Clark's
Who would like to put it? Who would like to put a proposal forward for that?
This is absolutely disgusting.
I didn't ask for your opinion either, Councillor Clark. Do I have a proposal for the application 27 Nicholas Road? Okay, from the chair, I'll propose approval. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Crook. Who would like to speak on it? No one. Councillor Bowmans. Do you wish to speak on it?
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Chair. No concerns on my side on this. I think it's absolutely fine.
Okay. Anybody else wish to speak? Okay. All in favour? Against? You abstaining, Councillor Hamilton? Okay, thank you. That one's carried.
Okay, I'm back in the room, I hope, I think.
We're on, the next one is P20/S4181/full, Chairman.
Okay, thank you. Right, so I'll take over now. So we've got the dental practice 136 Reading Road. Jodie.
Thank you. So policy CF1 of the local plan states that proposals that would result in the loss of an essential community facility will not be permitted unless they can be replaced elsewhere or if it's not viable. The applicants have submitted evidence to show that the facility in its current use can no longer constitute a community facility and shows that the practice has been marketed without success. The principle of this turning to residential would be acceptable. Those were my comments.
Okay, thank you. Proposal, yes, Councillor Eggleton.
Refusal.
Sorry, did you say refusal?
Refusal, yeah.
Okay, what are your planning reasons?
Because I don't like seeing retail or things being turned into houses because I think there's too much of it.
Retail space.
For
Okay.
retail, commercial properties, I think we're.
So you don't agree with the change of use?
Yeah, change of use. I don't approve for the change of use, no.
Okay, thank you. Is that a seconded? Councillor Crook, are you seconding?
Yeah, can I speak?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, reiterate what Dave said, and also loss of parking, loss of employment space, which was what we need really in Henley, more employment space, not less.
All right, thank you. Would any other councillor like to speak? No, okay, I see none. Okay, so let's put this to the vote then. The motion is for refusal. All those in favour? Okay, that is carried. Thank you.
Chair, just to note that I didn't hear the debate, so I took no part in the vote either. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. That will be noted. Okay, so P20 S4 S4182. It's a listed building application and it's for West Street. Jodie.
Subject to the pavement slabs being retained and replaced in situ and subject to the satisfaction of the conservation officer, I haven't got any concerns.
Okay, thank you. Any proposals from councillors? Yes, Councillor Eggleton.
I propose acceptance due as long as it's the work's carried out and the environment, the people conservation officer is happy with the lifting and replacing the stones, because this is a very protected area.
Thank you. Are you seconding, Councillor Gavishak?
Yes, I am, and I'll just speak briefly about this. That Councillor Eggleton is absolutely right. It's a conservation area, and it's also got a conservation pavement as well. And Zoom have been liaising with SODC on this matter, so therefore it's quite right that we include the conservation officer's comment for approval. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Would any other councillor like to speak? No. Okay, so the motion is for approval, subject to conditions. All those in favour? Thank you. That's carried. Okay, so that concludes the plans. We do have to discuss if we have any call-in applications. Yes, Councillor Hamilton.
Yeah, I think we should call in P20 S4111/HH, which I propose refusal.
Can you remind me which one that is in terms of
Antiles?
Can I just come in here, Chairman? Can I just come in here? The problem I have with this meeting this evening, we've got one particular councillor, Hamilton, I think his name is, that is just trying to cause problems all the way through. If he would have listened to you, Chairman, he would have found out that a councillor's planning application has to go to the committee. We do not need to call this application in. It goes to committee straight away as the council has the application. Now, I suggest that Councillor Hamilton pays attention to what's going on in the meeting rather than just trying to cause problems all the way through.
Okay, right.
If this is debated, I am leaving the meeting again.
No, we're not debating this. Can I please ask if any councillors have any call-ins, please? Any items that were refused?
Practice.
Chair, can I just make the point, please?
No, please don't make the points. I think you've spoken enough. Thank you. Yes, Councillor Crook.
P20 S4181/full dental practice. Can we call that in?
Okay, can I please have a vote on that one? Is that seconded? Yeah, Councillor Romans, thank you. All those in favour? Yeah, that's carried. Thank you. So that one's called in. Okay, right. Let's move on to number 8, which is decision notices. We just need to note those. Thank you. And the next one is the number 9 appeal decision. That's the Town and Country Planning Act. Appeal against refusal. Now, this one was dismissed. I don't know if councillors had a chance to read this one, because I really wanted to emphasise, really, and not congratulate, but I think, you know, we deserve, you know, you all deserve a bit of a nod, really, on this one, because Henley Town Council, the Planning Committee, have now actually had 3 out of 3 appeals dismissed by the planning inspector, which I think just really sums up how good you all are with your planning knowledge and with your local knowledge. It's, you know, it's sorry, I'm being, hello, Mrs. Hollett. So yeah, so I wanted to say, you know, it does take a lot of time. You know, councillors will know it takes a good 3-4 hours to look through all of these agendas to do them properly. So I just wanted to say thank you and congratulations. Okay, moving on. Number 10, We've got a certificate of lawful developments. Okay, we just to note those. There are 3 of them. And then number 11, which is a withdrawn application, 146 Reading Road. And then we have number 12, Town and Country Planning Tree Preservation Order. And that again, that is just to note that one. And number 13 is the Henley Festival 2021 application for the towpath diversion. Again, that's to be noted. And the next one is number 14, which is South Oxfordshire District Council SIL update. Now this one is for discussion, and we need to decide if we want to put any comments back to SODC, and if we do, what those comments will be. Would any yes, Councillor Gavashak, you have some comments?
Yeah, if I can just speak to this a little bit. And,
yes, of course.
And urge councillors outside the meeting to actually get their thinking hats on for this SIL money. SODC at the moment is currently sat on a large amount of SIL money that has been sort of hoovered up all across the district. And to a certain extent, I'll put it in inverted commas, they're having difficulty spending it, which Henley wouldn't. There's £200,000 worth of SIL money relating to the Henley area. There's thousands more relating to Didcot and other places. Now, whilst I wouldn't want to borrow Didcot's money, I think that we should be entitled to the £2,000 that has been generated, £200,000 that has been generated from the Henley area. So therefore, I'm just sort of urging councillors to, and with our wonderful planning officers, Kath and Jody, to actually come up with a, not necessarily this evening, but think about what we could responsibly go to SODC with a shopping list for. So I'll just leave it at that. I mean, I don't think we have to come up with a list tonight, but I just sort of ask councillors to think about it, because the money will go into a central pot and be spent elsewhere in the district. Thank you.
Councillor Hamilton.
Yeah, there was a previous list that we produced, and there were things on that list like air quality and pollution and that kind of thing. Obviously, to improve our air quality. And I wonder whether that list could be distributed first amongst the councillors so that we could add to it as fit.
That's, sorry, if I could speak.
Yes,
Chair.
Of course.
That list is actually coming from the SODC £100,000 air quality pot. So this is separate money. So we need to come up with a separate list for it. Thank you.
Okay. Any other councillor? I think if you would, yes, Councillor Clark.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I suppose we can use that money to do the new footpath along the Mill Meadows and Marsh Meadows.
What's wrong with the footpath?
Well, it's got to be repaired, hasn't it? It's all crumbling.
Councillors, can I just clarify something? What I'm actually asking for is not a specific wish list of what we need to go through. What we're doing this evening is we're actually just looking, if I can just pull your attention to the actual review. What they're talking about is general allocation across all of the different areas. Okay, we're not looking at the moment at a shopping list of projects that we'd like to be done. So, for instance, we're not discussing this evening the allocation of the 15-25% to parish councils. That's not being reviewed. That's not being changed. Okay, so we just have to look at that one-page document and ask ourselves, is there anything on that document that we disagree with, or if we want to suggest anything to SODC about this one-page document? It's on page 43. So, for instance, I had a look at this point, it's not numbered unfortunately, but there's a bullet point about halfway down which says we will also allow the use of SIL funding across the district council boundary for projects in the Didcot Garden Town area, part of which is in the Vale of the White Horse district. Do councillors agree with that? Councillor Gavashak?
Well, the answer is yes, I do.
Okay.
Because there are, in Didcot, there are projects that straddle the boundaries. And therefore, it wouldn't be sensible to stop a meaningful, sensible project that straddles the boundary. If the funding can be sourced from SODC, there may well be other schemes in Didcot where the funding is sourced from the Vale of the White Horse. So therefore, to artificially say, right, this playground, for example, we will only fund up to the boundary of the Vale of the White Horse, and if Vale don't chip in the rest, then we're going to stop the project, because it may well be that by collaboration between SODC and the Vale, it's a perfectly reasonable exercise.
Okay. Would any other councillor like to speak to this? No. Okay. Would any of the officers like to speak? No. Okay. Councillor Gavashak, you wanted to say something?
Well, I would just say, if you want a proposal, is to accept the document, or note the document if you want.
Okay. Do I have a seconder? Do I have a seconder? Yes, Councillor Arlett. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. So all those in favour. Sorry, Councillor Arlett.
Yeah, just speaking. There is a document, another document which I'm just looking at now, the 17 page, which I'll send on to other councillors. They probably haven't read it, and that gives you a lot more information on the SIL money going back to about 2016, and it will give you more ideas on what we should be debating.
Okay. Okay. Let's just finish this proposal though. It's for just to note. Okay, it's been seconded. All those in favour? Okay, thank you. That's carried. All right, moving on then from the SIL updates, we've got number 15, which is the zebra crossing. Councillor Gavashak, would you like to speak to this, or would you like me just to go to the read out the recommendation from Deputy Clerk?
I'll speak to this if I may, Chair.
Yeah, of course.
Thank you. And I will be proposing. Well, firstly, can I propose the recommendation? And if seconded, then I will speak to it. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Yes, go ahead.
Very briefly, there are a number of crossings that we as a council have wanted for a while. Grays Road, Swiss Farm and Gravel Hill crossing. And this is the next step towards the Gravel Hill crossing. And it's a fairly straightforward step. That at the moment, Oxfordshire County Council do not have the capacity to design this crossing with all the requisite specifications, etc., 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 because the OCC officers have been absolutely pushed with projects and other projects, including 2 projects for Henley, which I will be talking about in the coming weeks. On this particular project, the design cost is, as we say in the recommendation, £4,625. These costs have been vetted by Oxfordshire County Council. And the other thing to note in the document is that for this crossing, the 3.4, which states, however, Oxfordshire OCC have advised that they are able to fund the construction of this zebra crossing completely from Section 106 and SIL funds. So it's only the design costs we're asking, which we already have a pot for in Henley. So this crossing will be designed, and then once the consultation is approved or otherwise, then OCC will fund the complete construction costs going forward. So therefore, I wholeheartedly support this motion because it brings a very, very good project forward. It means that at the top of Gravel Hill, we will have a crossing, and it will enable school children to go across the crossing, to Badgemore School and Hop Gardens, and also pedestrians to navigate this very busy stretch of road. Okay.
Thank you. Okay, so the motion is to approve the resolution, or would any other councillor like to speak? Councillor Gaggleton, you had your hand up.
Yeah, I'd like to, well, I'm strongly for zebra crossings because I believe on certain parts of roads that you need a crossing to get through from, especially for elderly and unable-bodied people, to get from one place to another. But what is concerning on that stretch of road, I don't know where the actual crossing is going. Is it going up on the top end of the thing and then coming across into the Hop Gardens, or is it suggested to go down further down the road?
It shows it on page 46.
Page 46.
I'm on page, oh, sorry. I thought that was it on there. Didn't see that. That is at the more or less at the top, coming across where the flower beds are. So that footbit just across there, where the apple is.
Actually, Dave, or Councillor Eggleton, can I just say that actually the latest thought is that crossing could move slightly further up towards Hop Gardens, so it would tick your box even more.
Okay.
I'm all for, like I just feel I need to finish off just quickly.
Sorry, go ahead.
The other thing which is more concerning as well, I know that we've got a 20-mile-an-hour zone in Henley, but people don't seem to stick to this 20-mile-an-hour zone. What's that noise?
Listening to
Hello?
telly.
Don't know. Yeah, so that's fine. If it goes up slightly over or there, I'm happy with that, as long as it's in a safe place, because people still go up there at the rate of knots. The Thames Valley Police have asked me to do a speed camera thing, as I've been trained to use the speed cameras, and I was prepared to go up there on working on behalf of the council, supported by the police with the equipment, to do a survey of the speeds that they are. I'm still waiting to whether I can actually do that, and I'm still waiting for someone to contact the police and saying, yeah, that's okay, that you can do that, because that would be one of the places that I would do this speed watch, and the other place would be St Andrews Road and a few other places, working along other councillors to do this in Henley.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Eggleton. Would any other councillor like to speak? Yes, Councillor Hamilton.
Yeah, I'd like to speak on these zebra crossings. I too am in favour of zebra crossings. I do think we've just got to get them in the right place, and there'll be consultation of people. Everyone will have a view whether it should be 20 yards up or 20 yards down. I just wanted to check the design costs, and I'm looking at Councillor Gavashak here. The design costs will be met by Henley Town Council. The installation costs will be met in full by OCC. Is that what he's just said, and can he confirm that?
I think that's what the report says, isn't it, Councillor Gavashak?
I will respond to that when I sum up.
Okay. All right. So,
if that's the case, then I just got a further question, if I may. Can SODC SIL money, not Henley Town Council SIL money, be used for zebra crossings?
Okay, well, let's just be clear. Okay, this money was already put into the pot by Henley Town Council. Okay, so the next pot is now being released, so the money is there. So it doesn't really matter. Although I take your point, Councillor Hamilton. Would you like to come back on that, Councillor Gavashak, or would you now just like to sum up and move on?
I will sum up if people have made all their comments. Thank you.
Can I just make one more
any
comment?
other comments very quickly, please, because we
Just
are
very
out
quickly.
of time and we've got town and community.
Yeah, I know. Is the other one that's Swiss Farm coming into the equation later on, Councillor Gavashak?
Well, I can answer very simply yes.
Okay. All right, so let's have a sum up then and a vote.
Right, okay. Just to sum up, I'd heartily recommend that you approve this. A couple of things that Councillor Eggleton has said. In order to install a pedestrian crossing, you have to do a speed survey. There have been 2 done on this stretch. One of them was only a week ago. So I can give you the data on speeds without you deploying the camera. I think there are other places in the town you can deploy the camera. The second thing is that, yes, the 3.4 makes it absolutely clear. OCC have advised that the complete construction cost will be funded by OCC. So that is there in black and white. And I thank Kath for the report that she's put together. So I ask you to pop it to the vote. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. It's been seconded for approval. All those in favour? Okay, that's carried. Thank you. Okay, so let's just move on to the next item on the agenda, which is number 16, the proposed changes to off-street parking. And again, this is to decide, to discuss and decide upon if we want to put a response into SODC about these proposed changes. So do I have anyone who'd like to start? Yes, Councillor Arlott. You're on mute.
Yeah, myself, Councillor Gavashak and Councillor Hinton have been pushing for this for the best part of 18 months now, and it's coming through to fruition. And it's an absolute brilliant scheme that's going to take place, which should suit everybody in the town. And I would just like the town council to fully support what's written on this paper and get that back to SODC that we are fully in support from Henley Town Council. And I say that.
Thank you. Is that seconded? You seconding, Councillor Hamilton?
No.
Second.
You are?
No, I'm not. I want to speak to the
Oh,
motion.
okay. All right. So are you seconding, Councillor Gavashak? Yes.
Councillor Eggleton.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so we've got a proposal for approving the changes. It's been seconded. Now, Councillor Arlott would like to speak, and then Councillor Eggleton. Sorry, Councillor Hamilton would like to speak next, and then Councillor Eggleton.
Thank you very much. Yes, I'm fully supportive of the proposed changes. I note that Wallingford said no to it, and I just wondered, does this become a district-wide thing? And if towns pull out, does that affect what would be in Henley? And whilst I'm supportive of the changes, I do think the Sunday charging is a bit much.
Councillor Gavashak, would you like to answer that before I go to Councillor Eggleton?
Well, the answer is because if Wallingford have pulled out, then that's a decision for South Oxfordshire District Council to approve or not. The only thing I would say is that what might have influenced Wallingford's decision is that they already have an hour's free parking and 2 hours free in one of their car parks.
Yeah.
So it's no wonder that they're actually thinking this is a slightly retrograde step, because Henley has been paying for the rest of the district's car parking. So therefore, this is actually a question of equity across the districts, which Councillor Arlott and I have actually argued at SODC. It is fair for the whole district to have the same. And this proposal from SODC is a way of making it equitable. The other thing that we were pushing for was the hours free parking, because we thought, and we still think, and the retailers agree with this, that in fact it will create churn for the car park places and more more footfall onto our shopping high street, which is absolutely badly needed.
Okay.
So
thank you.
Anyway, those are my comments. Thank you.
All right, so we've got a motion for sending our approval to the changes. It's been seconded. We've heard from Councillor Hamilton. Now we can hear from Councillor Eggleton.
No, I was the one that seconded it.
Oh,
So
you
that's all.
seconded it as well,
Yeah.
have you? Okay, right, okay.
Yeah.
Would any other councillor like to speak? Councillor Clark or Councillor Romans? Councillor Crook? No? Okay, let's put this to the vote then. All
Can I
those...
can I sum up, Chairman?
Yeah, of course. Go ahead, Councillor Arlott.
Yeah, the system that's going to be put in place is mainly for the beneficial of the shops. There's no doubt about that whatsoever. And they are basically all supporting the Sunday, because that car park is chock-a-block with people just parking there all day long, not having to pay a penny, and probably not using the shops. And Councillor Hamilton may think that's very good for the town shops. Well, it's not. So the bigger the turnover, the more people using that, especially on the Sunday, and the extra 1 hour they get all through the week, is just so positive for the shops. I can't believe that anybody would not support that. So, but we'll see what happens when we take the vote. So I hope the committee would fully support what's in the paper. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, so let's put this to the vote then. The proposal is for approval. It's been seconded.
Yeah.
All those in favour?
He's changed his mind.
That's carried. Thank you.
Never was changing my mind. Not democracy.
Right, let's move on, councillors. Right, the very last part of this agenda is to just note the progress report of applications called into SODC. Do we have any comments at all? Okay, well, I've just got one, which was we were supposed to remove treetops on Gillett's Lane because we withdrew our objection to that one, but that will be done for the next meeting. Okay, so that concludes the meeting of the. Yeah, sorry, Jodie.
Could you just discuss the licence application at the H Cafe that I said?
Of course, it's not on the agenda, is it? Of course, thank you for the reminder.
Thank you.
Okay, so councillors would have received into their inbox the pavement application for H Cafe on the hours that were listed. Did all of you note that? Yeah, okay. So would anybody like to speak to it at all?
I just propose we accept it.
Okay, is that seconded? Councillor Gavishak, thank you. Would any other councillor like to speak about that application? Okay, all those in favour? Okay, thank you, that's carried. Yes, Deputy Clerk.
I just wanted to say that we've had another one come in this afternoon and again, it's only got 7 days to consider it. So I think these are just, possibly going to keep coming fairly regularly.
Can that one be looked at next Tuesday? Who's on next Tuesday?
RNA next Tuesday.
Town Clerk, what do you think of RNA looking at that one?
It's not within the terms of reference for RNA. However, if it misses the deadline and we can't, if it doesn't fit in with the planning committee meeting schedule, then it doesn't fit in. There's little we can do with that unless we can ask for an extension if it's felt that is needed. It could be that these applications like this, for example, could be delegated to, say, the planning officer to make representations on, or to request an extension to if necessary. However, I think this would probably be a debate for a future meeting.
Okay, all right. All those in favour of the town? Yeah. Okay, thank you. We'll actually address that one next time then. All right, thank you. So